The Legend of Galloper Thompson, Linda's story. A Star Stable short story, part of the Soul Riders series. Written by Helena Dahlgren. I see the horse first. Massive and black, glistening in the night. It gallops straight toward me. The horse's mane is a vivid golden red. In the light from the jack-o'-lanterns, it burns like embers. The pumpkins are everywhere out in the field. Like grinning skulls, they gang up on me in the dark. Some of them are grotesque, overgrown, others tiny. But they all grin at me. The sky is pitch black, starless. No moon to guide me tonight. I try to run, but I keep falling over. My legs are numb and feel strangely heavy. Enormous hooves crush the jack-o'-lanterns against the ground with a wet, smacking sound. The sound travels nearer. I think it's right behind me. Now I see that the horse has a rider. The rider's clothes are as black as the night sky. I squint, struggling to see more, but the darkness of the night makes it difficult to see anything but the black, empty sky. The hooves echo like thunder, faster and faster, closer and closer. Without the moon, I'm paralyzed. There is nowhere to run. It isn't until they are right next to me, so close that I can almost feel the hooves touching me, that I realize where the rider's head should be, there is only a void. More darkness. Slowly, the world returns to me. The dream fades one layer at a time. I see piles of books, specks of dust on the worn linoleum floor. My hand trembles as I hold it up in front of me. It's late, and I'm the only one left in the school library. The jack-o'-lanterns are just ordinary lamps, and the headless horseman is gone. It was just a dream, I whisper to myself. Just a dream. That's right. It was just a dream, but not any dream. The last few days, I've had the same dream over and over again, and it always ends the same, with me, alone, in a field of bright orange jack-o'-lanterns, the headless horseman charging at me. I call it a dream, but deep down I know that it's something else. A vision. Something that will actually happen. It's this ability I have, to see into the future in tiny little fragments. I see things that will happen, but also things that might happen unless we do something about it. By we, I mean my friends, Alex, Lisa, Anne, and me. Together, we are the 4 Soul Riders. As I lean back in my chair, I think about what the dream might mean. Tomorrow is Halloween. The dream definitely has something to do with Halloween, but what can it be? Will I meet the Headless Horseman tomorrow night? Is that when he will come for me? Before I became a Soul Rider, I would never have considered the possibility of ghost stories and nightmares being real. But that was before I realized that there are so many strange things happening right here in Jorvik, things that most people are completely unaware of. That was before my life changed forever. Now I don't know what to think anymore, but I have seen enough to know that I can't just dismiss the Headless Horseman as a bad dream. My hands are still shaking as I remove my glasses and rub my swollen, tired eyes. Outside the window, the sky is as dark as it was in my vision. A few dry fall leaves rustle in the wind. I shiver when I think about walking home alone in the dark, with the memory of the Headless Horseman so fresh in my mind that I can still hear the sound of the hoofbeats echoing. I wish I could be with my horse Meteor right now. Just stand there while he chews on some hay, pressing his large, warm body against mine. To me, that's security, my safe place. But Meteor is in the stable, and I'm sitting here in the school library miles away, so I have to make do with the next best thing when it comes to safety. Books. My steps echo in the empty library as I walk toward the shelf where all the books about Jorvik are gathered. I'm looking for a book that might explain my strangely lucid dreams about the Headless Horseman. Gingerly, I run my index finger over the spines. My finger stops on a hefty book with a promising title, Myths and Folk Tales from Jorvik. I take it off of the shelf, sneezing as the dust whirls around me. Must have been a while since someone read this one. Bringing the book back to the table, which is littered with stacks of books, empty soda cans, pencils, and candy wrappers, I randomly open it and start reading. Once upon a time, in the cold sea, lay a lifeless isle where darkness reigned. Nope, already know that one. I flip through the myths and tales, both known and unknown, until my gaze falls on an illustration of a black horse and a black-clad, headless rider. The headline reads, The Legend of Galloper Thompson. My headless horseman. I've found him! At that exact moment, there is a knock on the window, and I swear I almost jump out of my own skin. I see a ghostly, pale face outside in the darkness, and I scream. But the face just laughs and breathes on the window, gathering mist. I let out a big sigh. Alex! Thank goodness. I pick up the book, gather my things, and leave the library. Why didn't you answer my calls? Alex asks when I exit the school building. I take my phone out of my pocket. Oh, right. I didn't hear it. I had the sound turned off. I was working on my essay. Or trying to, anyway. Essay schmessay. There are more important things in life, you know. Like deciding what costumes we should wear for the Halloween ride. Suddenly, my thoughts of the Headless Horseman seem distant. I find myself laughing. You're right, Alex. The ride is tomorrow. We should prepare. I consider telling her about my dream, but decide against it. Alex is so happy and excited, and I'd rather not think about Galloper Thompson right now. Alex sighs wistfully. I love Halloween. It's the one chance you have all year to be someone else. We stroll along on the cobbled streets, kicking at leaves as we discuss tomorrow's Halloween ride. The air is thick with the scent of soil and burning leaves. The moon emerges from behind a cloud as we turn onto my street. See you tomorrow, Alex says and hurries off. I stand there in the moonlight and listen to her steps fading away. And then I hear something else. The tapping sound of hooves against cobblestone. I turn around toward the noise, but all I see is the deserted street. And yet the sound continues. I still hear it echoing inside me when I unlock the front door and pet my cat, Misty, who comes up to me and presses herself against my leg. I already know what I'll dream of tonight. But first, I'm going to read more about the Headless Horseman. It's going to be a long night. I keep reading, but it becomes harder and harder to keep my eyes open. My head feels so heavy. Eventually, I plop down headfirst on my desk, onto the book, until my cheek rests against the worn and shiny paper. And I dream. In my dream, my head keeps falling, away from my body. It doesn't hurt, I think, in dull surprise. How could it not hurt? My head rolls and lands on the cobblestone with a thud. And now I see it. It's not my head at all, but a young man's head, framed by blonde, curly hair. His eyes are green, frozen in eternal terror. The angry mob standing around cheers as they lift their fists in the air. The head starts to roll again. Someone puts out their foot and kicks it, like a ball. "Long live the king!" the crowd yells, again and again. Then silence. Blackness. When I wake up, I'm drooling all over the pages. Dignified, Chanda. I huff and puff as if I've just finished first in a show jumping competition. My heart is beating so fast it feels like it might pound its way right out of my chest. It takes a while for the text I was reading, as I fell asleep, to start making sense again. The axe came down, and so began the legend of Galloper Thompson. Going to bed feels impossible, so instead, I make myself a cup of tea and sit on the sofa with Misty on my lap. The combination of her purring and the hot tea helps to calm me down. At last, I crawl into bed, falling asleep almost immediately. But in my dream, I don't see a headless horseman. Instead, I am inside a stable, where a young man with bright green eyes is holding his arms around a big black mare.
"Goodbye,"
he whispers to the horse.
"Goodbye, my beloved friend."
The horse puts its nose in the man's shivering hand, hooves scraping restlessly against the ground. Several men in uniform enter the stable and take the man away. The horse whinnies and fidgets inside the stall. The massive Jorvik wild horse kicks furiously against the walls, whinnying and neighing, until another soldier comes in, dragging the distressed horse outside. The sound of the horse's whinnying continues to echo in my head until I wake up. I feel a knot form in my stomach as I come to realize who it was I saw in my dream. Galloper Thompson, the man who later became known as the Headless Horseman. He's not going to leave me alone, I think. But what does he want from me? The day goes by and I don't get a chance to talk to my friends at all, but after school we head to the stable. And it's there, among the calming horse sounds, that I finally muster up the courage to tell them about my dreams. "Have any of you ever heard the Legend of Galloper Thompson?" I ask, trying to sound casual. We're washing our saddles with saddle soap and water, making sure they're clean and good to go for the ride later tonight. When I bend down to rinse my sponge, I see him in the soapy water. He's everywhere now. I keep hearing the galloping sounds wherever I go. Anne looks up, pushing away a strand of hair that had stuck to her red, sweaty cheek. "I think so. An old ghost story, right?" "Sort of," I reply. "Legend has it he was around way back in time, during the reign of King Jan Jarl. He kept to himself, and the rest of Jorvik did their best to avoid him. I guess he was a bit of a loner. He was probably just misunderstood, but you know what it's like. People fear the unknown." "Linda, you think that everyone is lonely and misunderstood," Alex exclaims, putting Tin Can's saddle down beside her. Lisa and Anne don't say anything. They just look at me expectantly. I ignore Alex and continue. "But there was this one horse who wouldn't leave his side, a big black Jorvik wild horse. There were rumors about Galloper Thompson, that he was supposedly a wizard, a practitioner of black magic who could make awful things happen. Everyone was scared of him, even though he hadn't really done anything wrong." I swallow hard as I think about how I, too, have fled the Headless Horseman in my dreams. I think about the poor, green-eyed man in the stable in my last dream, being dragged away by soldiers. Innocent, yet sentenced to death. I can only imagine how that must feel. And in that moment, I promise myself never to shy away from the unknown again. I turn around toward my friends and tell them the horrid ending of my tale. "In the end, people were so scared of him that he was executed. On the king's orders, I say. Decapitated for high treason. The horse died of grief." My chest burns. My hand feels heavy as I lay it on Meteor's forehead. But because he was innocent, sentenced only because of people's fears and insecurities, his soul could never rest in peace. Even Alex shudders now. You could hear a pin drop on the floor of the tack room. It's that quiet. Everyone has put down their saddles. Their eyes lock with mine. I continue. Since then, legend has it that he keeps galloping around on his horse, miserable and lost after having been wrongfully executed. He can't rest until he gets redemption. That's why, according to the ghost stories, he haunts the island of Jorvik during Halloween, drifting around on horseback like a restless spirit, looking for his head. Is this your way of telling us that you will dress up as Galloper Thompson for tonight's Halloween ride? Alex asks. I mean, I know how creative you are, but the headless bit? That might be difficult even for you. I really feel like sticking my tongue out at her. Instead, I say, no, but I want us to look for him. Tonight, during the Halloween ride, we will find Galloper Thompson. I think he's been trying to contact me because I've been having these weird visions. And I want to help him, or at least try to help him. Maybe it's already too late, but I still want to try and tell him that we know he was innocent and treated unjustly. And I want to ask for his forgiveness. So, my question for you, my Soul Rider sisters, is, are you with me? First, they just stare at me, making sure I'm not pulling their leg. Then they each take a step towards me, one by one. Alex first, then Anne, then Lisa. We stand together, like so many times before, and I know they will help me. Because that's what Soul Riders do. All afternoon, I have this vague, sneaking suspicion that there's something I've forgotten. I try to grab hold of the feeling, remain in it. It doesn't help. Time and time again, the feeling slips away as fast as it came. The stables are immersed in soft twilight when I finally remember. My witch hat! I've left it at home. Shoot! As I close my eyes, I can even see the exact place where I left it. On my desk, next to the windowsill where Misty likes to nap. I put it there last night so that I wouldn't miss it. Considering the fact that I've been walking around in a fog thinking about Galloper Thompson, it's a miracle that I remembered to bring anything this morning. Still, it bugs me. It's not like me to forget stuff. Quickly, I glance at my watch. If I hurry, I will be back in time for the Halloween ride. Without slowing down, I zip up my jacket and pull out a pair of woolly gloves from my pocket. Then I start jogging towards town. The early evening is chilly, shrouded in a soft, silvery mist. Skulls and jack-o'-lanterns grin at me from windows and front porches as I hurry home. It's that time of day when everyone seems to be on their way back from work and school. The town is usually alive with movement right now. And yet, the streets are strangely empty. The golden glow from the old-fashioned street lamps falls down on the cobblestone, evaporating in the mist. A cold, creeping feeling suddenly overwhelms me. I have seen this street thousands of times, but tonight, it's like I'm traveling back in time. Slowly, I turn around. For a brief second, I see green eyes shimmering in the half-light. It could be Misty, out chasing mice, but I know that it's not. When the green eyes fade, I scream, "What do you want from me? Why can't you just leave me alone?" But there is no one there. I yell into the cold fall air, so loud that my lungs ache. I am screaming at myself. Typical me to want to save someone who perhaps doesn't even want to be saved. When will I ever learn? Sighing deeply, I hurry inside and pick up the hat. Misty jumps down from my desk and strokes herself against my leg. "Not now," I mutter. But she just stands there purring. Have you ever tried resisting a purring cat? It's impossible, I tell you. Okay then, I say, and lean down to pick her up. I guess we have time for a quick cuddle. Misty looks pleased as punch as she nuzzles the crook of my arm. Butting her velvety black head, she urges me to scratch her right behind her ear. Or rather, behind the jagged little stump that used to be her ear. My hand finds its way there, and I start remembering another cold fall night. The night when I met Misty for the first time. She was so small and pitiful when she showed up outside my bedroom window. Her ear was badly frozen and had fallen off from cold, cold nights spent outdoors. I took her inside, into the warmth, and I let her stay there. Maybe I saved her, but it's more like she saved me. Now that I have Misty, I never feel lonely. I helped Misty, and now I have a chance to help Galloper Thompson. The realization hits me like a loud click. Misty is still purring against my shaking hand. Her green eyes are undecipherable. "Thank you, Misty," I whisper, and stroke her smooth head one more time before I let her down on the floor. Then I put on my witch hat and quickly leave through the front door. "You should always have black hair," I say admiringly to Anne as we mount our horses by the flickering lights of the jack-o'-lanterns out in the yard. She is wearing a black wig and a long dress, black too, of course, and fangs. When Anne smiles, her sharp fangs glimmer in the dark. "I'm not too sure about this dress, though," she says, trying to smooth down the long, tight dress without falling off the saddle. "But it looks like Lisa's having an even harder time. I didn't know zombies could ride horses." Lisa, dressed in tattered and torn old clothes, with gaping wounds painted red on her face, laughs. "It takes a lot of training to master the art of being undead, dear Countess Dracula." Alex and Tin Can walk by. Between the four of us, she's been the most ambitious when it comes to her Halloween costume. Her outfit has gray faux fur all over her body, and that, along with yellow contacts, really makes her look like a werewolf. A werewolf on horseback. "Are you sure you've really thought this whole Galloper Thompson thing through, Linda?" she asks, as I struggle not to drop my pointy witch's hat while I clamber up onto Meteor. He stands still and waits, patient as ever. "I've barely been able to think about anything else," I answer, and turn my ghostly witch face, painted a dull gray with big, dark circles under my eyes. "Why? What are you worried about?" "Well, if we find him, big if, how do you expect to communicate with him? I mean, how do you talk to someone who doesn't have a head? And how will we make him understand that we don't wish him any harm? What if he wants revenge? What if he attacks us?" I think about it for a while, realizing that I have no idea what to say. So I don't say anything. I just make a smacking sound at Meteor, who begins to walk across the yard. The lanterns flicker as we get ready to leave. Alex and Tin Can lead the way, with Lisa and Starshine following. Then Anne and Concord, leaving me in the back. We ride away from the light into the darkness. I gaze up toward the moon hanging low between the clouds, feeling the cold ocean breeze blowing in toward the land. I feel a peculiar mix of fear and anticipation when I hear my friends trotting down the dark path ahead of me. Halloween is a haunted night, a night where the veil between our world and other worlds is thinner than ever. I don't think I've ever felt that as clearly as in this moment. I always say that I love all things horror because horror teaches us to deal with the unknown. So why, then, is my heart beating so hard? Why are the small hairs at the nape of my neck standing up? And why are Meteor's ears back as I try to make him trot faster? The full moon disappears behind a heavy cloud. I can hardly see the others riding further ahead on the trail. I ask for a canter, shouting at Alex and the others that I'll catch up soon. But the mist from the ocean has begun to roll in, thick and silvery, and suddenly I can't see anything at all. "Hello?" I yell out in the raw, cold dark, hearing how pathetic my voice sounds. Are you there? Alex, Lisa, Anne! Come on, answer me! Where are you? No reply. All is silent, apart from the sound of hooves, approaching fast. And I know it's not my friends because this sound comes from behind me, not up ahead. And it's closing in. A feeling of dread grabs hold of me. I want to get out of here, quick. In a haze, I gallop onwards. Beyond the mist, I sense something golden, reddish. Burning jack-o'-lanterns are lined up on the bleak field, just like I knew they would be. The kids down at the community center put them out on the field each year for Halloween. But tonight, it's like the carved-out eyes are staring right at me, following each move Meteor and I make. The thundering of hooves is impossible to dismiss now. It echoes out over the field. A cold shiver runs down my spine. We were supposed to do this together. Yet here I am all alone, just like in my dreams. Slowly, I turn towards the sound. I take a deep breath, and then I gallop straight into the field. I don't stop until I've reached the jack-o'-lanterns. The wind howls in the chill of the late October night. I inhale the cool air into my lungs. "Galloper Thompson!" I yell. "Show yourself! I don't wish you any harm!" The mist clears. The moon slides out from behind a cloud, illuminating the dark field. That's when I see him. Mounted on a massive, black Jorvik wild horse, he slowly rides out from behind the trees. I can't help gasping when I see him. He is much taller in real life. My heart is racing, even though I've seen him so many times before in my dreams. Even though I've run away from him over and over again. Right now, my instincts are telling me to run again. Just bolt away from the field as fast as I can. But at the same time, I know there will be no more running away now. I can't just flee the unknown. It is time we finally meet, Galloper Thompson and I. I'm not sure if I talk out loud or if the words are just inside my head. All I know is that the Headless Horseman is riding up to me, slowing to a halt when we are, well, I wouldn't exactly call it face to face, but so close that it feels like he is towering over me. He is still, expectant almost. I hope he can't hear how scared I am when I start to speak. I know what happened to you, Galloper Thompson. I know that you were sentenced and executed, despite being totally innocent. The sole reason being that people, back then and now, are scared of the unknown. The dark-clad rider sits still before me, but I know he can hear me. I see him waiting for whatever it is I'll say next. And I hear my voice, loud and clear. There is no fear in my voice. On the contrary, it sounds strong. So I keep talking. I know that you deserved another fate, a better fate. Your horse, too. Those who judged you, they are long gone. But we're still here, everyone who lives on this island today. And that's why I've come tonight, to ask for your forgiveness, on behalf of all of Jorvik. You were innocent, and I will make sure your story keeps being told around campfires, not as a ghost story, but as a story of someone who dared to be different, and about the fact that you should never judge someone just because they're not like everyone else. The black-clad silhouette sits perfectly still on top of his majestic horse. I know that he can hear me. I can see his body relaxing. It almost looks like he's sighing. A deep sigh of relief. My hand trembles as I stroke Meteor's sweaty neck. I can feel myself smiling. The Headless Horseman's mare rears and whinnies, a deep, lingering sound, extinguishing several of the lanterns. Galloper Thompson slowly lifts his hand in a gesture of farewell. Then the thick mist rolls out over the field, and they are suddenly gone. The echoes of the horses whinnying linger for a few more seconds. Then I hear another sound. The sound of my friends calling for me. We ride back toward the stable in silence. Meteor and I fall back and walk slowly at the rear. The fall night has lost its chill. The warmth from the horses rises like steam in the night air, and I feel calmer than I have in days. In my mind, I start writing the final words for my essay. The one I now know will be about Galloper Thompson. Sometimes it's easier to start at the end. Here on Jorvik, we pride ourselves on telling the myths and legends of the people who lived here before us. We who live today may read and listen, and perhaps learn something from these legends, if we read them correctly. The legend of Galloper Thompson lives on, linking our history with our present day. For too long, it was told and read as a chilling ghost story, meant to frighten us as we sit around campfires or get ready to go to sleep at slumber parties. But now, we know that his tale is really one of prejudice, of fear of the unknown and its dire consequences. Do we ever learn from history? I hope so. And by doing the right thing today, we just might be able to heal the wounds that were created far before our time. Alex interrupts my trail of thought with a loud laugh. This was the best Halloween ride ever, even though we didn't get to meet the Headless Horseman, she shouts. But probably just as well, eh? I was so terrified that we would actually meet him. I ride up next to Alex, smiling shrewdly at her. Oh, he's not as bad as he seems. I don't think you'll have to worry about him showing up again. And you know this how? Alex prompts. Her eyes glitter in the dark. She looks just as sly as me, if not even more so. Let's put it this way. Tonight's ride gave me tons of inspiration for my essay, I reply. In the distance, I hear the sound of hooves, along with a deep, roaring neigh. I raise my hand to salute him, but I know that Galloper Thompson is already gone. Away from me, away from Jorvik, away from this world, riding toward a place where he, maybe, can find eternal peace. You have listened to The Legend of Galloper Thompson, Linda's story, a Star Stable Soul Riders short story, written by Helena Dahlgren, read and produced by me, Jennifer Jill Araya. Music and sound design by Axel Belinder and William Olson. Text, music, and production copyright 2021 by Star Stable Entertainment.